We ready? Yes. I'm Randy Siegel, and organizations hire me to work with their high potential employees in leadership and communication skills. Now, unlike some of the speakers, I'm more of a workshop giver. And the two workshops that seem to be the most popular, which are the most popular, are Powerhouse Presenting, and then one I do that's based on a book that I wrote called Engineer Your Career, on how to package, present, and promote yourself. So, in a very short period of time, I'm going to do a drive-by shooting on both of them and give you some idea of what I do. So we'll begin with presentation skills, because research says that the number one determinant for both social and for professional success is our ability to communicate. And let's face it, there ain't anything harder when we're communicating than when we're presenting. In fact, a lot of my clients tell me that they'd rather eat glass, right? So, what makes up the credibility of a speaker? Research tells us there are three different cues. Number one, our visual appearance. Makes sense? Number two, our vocal ability. And number three, our verbal, the actual words that we use. Now, of these percentages, 55, 38, and 7%, which do you believe has the most? Which is 55%? Visual, vocal, or verbal? Visual. Absolutely. What would be the next one? Vocal. Did you hear what you guys just told me? 93% of your credibility as a speaker is based on nothing but visual and vocal cues. And yet, what do we flip out about? The words we're using, right? Let's think about politicians for a minute, huh? I don't have to mention Sarah Palin, a couple of others that are out there. It's true, 93% of our credibility as a speaker is based on nothing but visual and vocal cues. So let's zero down and talk a little bit about visual cues, okay? So, how many of you all have ever been on a blind date? Come on, fess up.
Oh yeah, I have.
Good. How many of y'all have ever interviewed somebody? Okay, let's talk about the blind date. Far more fun, right? Doorbell rings. What is the first thing that you do? Am I right? And then what do? You already know. You walk out there. You can go home. I'm not going to have a good time with you, right? You know, it's true. Or you're interviewing somebody. You go out in the lobby. You shake their hand. You can go home, loser, I'm not going to hire you. You already know. Research tells us, in fact, it's called the 4-second window. Research tells us that within 4 seconds we know. In fact, they tell us that we receive over 100 messages per second. 100 messages per second when we meet somebody. Now, most of those are subconscious, but still. So, when we present, what would be the areas that would make up that visual? What would be the areas that would make up that 55%? What would you guess? Face? Pose? Absolutely. Clothes? Absolutely. There are 5 areas. Dress, our stance, eye contact, gestures, and movement. Now, I told you it'd be a drive-by shooting, so we'll just talk about 2. Okay? We'll talk first about stance. So everybody stand up. Come on, stand up. Dang, you guys are so predictable. Sit down. Now, this is especially true for young women, and we've got some young women that are in our group today. I'll pick on the men a little bit later, okay? But for women particularly, I see a lot of times that when they stand up and present, they do this, or they do this dancer's position. What is this? Second, first, third? Knew it was a number. Okay, so everything you do in life sends a message. So when I stand and present this way, if you were to push me, or you were to push me, where would I go? down. So what message am I giving? I can't stand on my feet. So when you present, what you want to do is put your feet solidly underneath your shoulders. Everybody stand up and try it. Now women, you're going to feel a little bit like a truck driver doing this. I'll warn you. But this is a power position. And if you get nervous when you present, if you bend your legs a little bit, they'll act as a shock absorber. Okay? So this is a position of power when you present. And know that this is, oh, you can sit down. Know that this is also true when you're in the hallway talking to your boss. You don't be standing here like a teapot with your hips shot out, right? You want to put your weight equally distributed with your feet underneath your shoulders. Now, I said to pick on the men, so I'll just jump ahead a little bit on gesturing. If you watch a man when he presents to a powerful woman, almost 9 times out of 10, he will do this. It's true, true. Okay, so that stance. It's true. That stance. Let's talk about eye contact. How many of you all took speech class in college?
Oh yeah, that's good.
Love that. What did they tell you about eye contact? Do you remember? Look at everybody. My favorite, I call it the sprinkler head. I'm here today. You know, you do a little drive-by shooting. Or my favorite is, they would say, look at the exit sign, that way you won't get nervous. So if connection is the most important thing when you present, how in the world am I going to connect when I'm doing this? Or my personal favorite is, look at their forehead, not at their eyes, and that way you won't get nervous. Well, if I do that, you're going to run into the bathroom and go, when did the zit get there? Right? Right? Where do they learn that crazy stuff? So this is hugely important. You must remember one thought per person. One thought per person. You have one moment. We just had a moment. We just had a moment. We just had a moment. So what happens is communications then becomes nothing but a series of one-to-one conversations. Now, that's presentation skills. We're going to zoom up, and in 3 minutes or less, I'm going to share with you a model that I wrote a book on called Engineer Your Career. So fasten your seatbelts. This is how you package, present, and promote yourself. It's based on 4 Ps. We've just talked about presence, but I want to talk about personhood, and George talked a little bit about this. In order to be your best in the business world, you've got to have a sense of who you are. You must have self-awareness. You must have self-acceptance. We all have that inner critic. And you must have self-disclosure, the ability to share who you are. Just like your organization has a purpose or mission statement, you must have a purpose or mission statement. So this is your internal philosophy, if you will. Then you get to persona, and this is how we package, present, and promote ourselves. What is your unique selling proposition? The 3 things that separate you from all the other bozos that do what you do. And where's the proof that backs that up? And then finally we get to presence. We are all judged on 3 criteria. Our likability. Is this somebody I would enjoy having a beer with after work or a cup of coffee? Our credibility. Can I trust them? Will they follow through on commitments? Do they know their stuff? And then finally their authority. Are they competent? Are they confident? Are they convicted? 3-legged stool that we all stand on. And at no time is that more evident than when we present. So this is a model that I do a program on that can last anywhere from an hour and a half to all day. So, in closing, my wish for all of you is that you stand fully in your power and that you become the full expression of all you are. And how do you do that? You do that by packaging and presenting and promoting your best self. Thank you.